1274 BC, he assembles the largest force yet seen in Egypt and prepares for battle at Kadesh. Ramses spares no effort to increase the striking power of his army, as is evident at Pi-Ramessa. The city founded by Ramses is a center for arms production with a focus on chariot troops.
In der Stadt selbst finden wir nun
In the city there was a great number of military facilities, as our excavations have shown.
eben auch durch die Grabung nachweisen können. Dazu gehören die
There are stables for the horses of the chariots, but also a kind of drill yard for charioteers, as well as workshops, which are certainly related to the production of things needed by the military.
Der Produktion militärischer Güter in Zusammenhang zu bringen sind.
The royal stables of Pi-Ramessa are a unique discovery in the history of Egypt. The facilities can accommodate up to 500 horses. In large halls, they're groomed and cared for. Archaeologists find hoof prints more than 3,000 years old. The complex shows that Ramses is making a gigantic effort to preserve the Egyptian empire.
Pi-Ramessa
replaced Memphis as the capital for about 200 years.
Wir wissen sicher, dass
We know for sure that Ramses II ruled from here for much of his reign.
offenbar von Pi-Ramessa aus regierte.
The eminence of the military in the new city is shown by a detail on this temple stele. The pharaoh rewards a soldier for his faithful service. He awards him the so-called Gold of Honor.
It's from Pi-Ramessa that Ramses II marched to the Battle of Kadesh.
Unlike Thutmose III, Ramses is not dealing with an alliance of rebellious petty princes. He's up against one of the great powers of antiquity, the empire of the Hittites.
Unlike Cambyses, Darius wanted to govern Egypt in his absence. He ascended to the throne of the Achaemenid Empire in 522 BCE and toured Egypt at least twice, though he favored Egypt from afar. Nonetheless, he adored the culture and directed funds towards the reconstruction of destroyed temples and the dedication of new ones. In keeping with the Persian practice of religious tolerance, Darius praised the Egyptian gods with presents and statues. He is widely viewed as having a gentler hand with Egypt than Cambyses. For the second Persian conquest of Greece in 480 BCE, his son Xerxes I, 486 to 465 BCE, relied on all the resources of the Achaemenid Empire, including Egypt. When the Persians were defeated at Salamis in 480 BCE and Plataea in 479 BCE, Xerxes abandoned foreign affairs in favor of construction projects and different relationships with court ladies. Artaxerxes I, 465 to 424 BCE, succeeded him and battled for 6 years to put down the first significant Egyptian rebellion, led by Inaros II, the Libyan royal son of Psamtik V, encouraged and assisted by Athens in 460 to 454 BCE.
They dominate large parts of Asia Minor from their capital, Hattusha. From here, they rule over numerous vassal states. Now the Hittites want to expand their empire to the west at the expense of Egypt. The Hittites too used chariots, yet unlike the Egyptian version, their chariot is manned by 3 men. In addition to the driver and the archer, there's a fighter for close combat. Thus equipped, the army of the Hittites intends to challenge Egypt's rule over the Levant. Ramses sets out with his entire force to meet the threat. In the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, a fragment of a relief shows foot soldiers and chariots. It was found in the burial chamber of a general serving under Ramses II.
In the New Kingdom, Egypt will reach its largest extent, the borders in the area of Syro-Palestina and beyond. You can see here a fortress and troops marching towards the northeast. Also, troops marching towards Kadesh would have started marching from this place.
The army is shown crossing a body of water where crocodiles lurk. It's possibly the easternmost branch of the Nile, beyond which the fertile land ends. It's here that Ramses plans to fight the invaders.
Some Egyptologists described it as the world's first world war, where they each had about 20,000 people, and the Egyptians had all the different tribes, the Libyans, the Nubians, and so on, allied with them.
The Allies reinforced the Egyptian infantry, which is equipped with shields and new weapons, such as the sickle sword. 4,000 foot soldiers, supplemented by chariot troops, are organized as a coherent combat unit. The Egyptian army consists of 4 such units, each bearing the name of a deity. Each unit marches separately toward Kadesh. It's what the Hittites have been waiting for. With their chariots, they pounce on the flanks of the unit named after the god Ra. The Egyptians, completely surprised, are put to flight. Then the Hittites charge toward the camp of the Amun unit, commanded by Ramses himself. A fierce battle begins. Then the Egyptians face total defeat. Yet, at the last moment, reinforcements arrive. The Egyptian chariots gain the upper hand. Now it's the Hittites who flee in panic, pursued by Ramses and his troops. Many are killed before the fighting ends. The Egyptian army has been able to hold its own on the battlefield. Yet its high losses rule out the conquest of Kadesh. Ramses has clearly failed to achieve what he set out to do. Yet defeat, or even a draw, is no option for a son of the gods. Ramses is a past master of propaganda. After his return to Egypt, he has himself celebrated as the undisputed victor, depicting the near disaster on the battlefield as a triumph. Ramses has his view of the events chiseled into the walls of 6 temples, leaving a total of 13 versions of the Battle of Kadesh. Like his ancestors, Ramses presents himself as all triumphant. Yet, there's one more twist to the story.
The Battle of Kadesh is one of the most exciting battles we know from ancient Egypt. It is completely different in the way it is depicted. Unlike all other battles, not only those of Ramses the Great, but also those of other kings. Because it shows the king in a dangerous situation. Usually the king stands on his chariot and nothing can touch him. He immediately fends off all enemies. For the first time, we see a pharaoh facing annihilation with the chariots of the enemies appearing behind him.
According to Ramses' propaganda, his troops have abandoned him. He seems lost. Only thanks to the help of the god Amun does he turn defeat into victory.
That's something that we don't know from earlier depictions or any texts in ancient Egypt. So here's a challenge to the king. He's in mortal danger, and yet he overcomes it with the divine assistance of Amun.
Yet Ramses II doesn't leave it at that. He enters diplomatic contact with the Hittites. 16 years after the battle, the pharaoh makes peace with the former enemies. Envoys from Hattusha bring a document to Egypt, the first surviving peace treaty in history. It stipulates that both sides will not attack each other and will even support each other in case of danger.
You know, the peace treaty with the Hittites does show you that the Egyptian pharaoh could be practical. Supposedly he's an incarnation of the sun god, he's all powerful, there's nobody more powerful than him. But when it became necessary, he made a treaty. He made a compromise with his Hittite adversaries. So yes, I mean, all this Egyptian ideology had to deal with reality on an international scale at this point.
The United Nations still refers to mankind's first known peace treaty. A replica of the document hangs at the entrance to the UN Security Council in New York, reminding the leaders of the world to maintain peace between their nations. As Ramses does after the Battle of Kadesh. He will keep peace for the rest of his reign, 61 years after all. He concentrates on grandiose building projects instead. Yet with the reign of Ramses II, the empire is approaching its zenith. Some 100 years after Ramses II, Ramses III goes down in Egypt's history as the last great pharaoh. The new ruler wants to link himself to the glory of his predecessor. Alas, times have changed. Egypt is on the defensive. In the south, the Nubians are pushing northward against the Nile fortresses. In the west, Libyan nomad warriors attack the border. The greatest danger, however, comes from the sea. Around 1180 BC, the so-called Sea Peoples appear in the eastern Mediterranean as if out of nowhere. With their mighty fleets, they land on the coasts and ravage one city after another. They even destroy the Hittite Empire. To this day, the origin of the Sea Peoples is one of the greatest mysteries of antiquity.
The Sea Peoples were a terrible danger that attacked not just Egypt, but large parts of the Mediterranean. And we are not entirely sure as to who they were, but it seems that they were really an agglomeration, a group of different peoples, whether they were from Sardinia or here or there or everywhere. But they were seafarers, they were adept at naval warfare, and they were terrorizing the Mediterranean world.
Ramses III must mobilize all his forces if he wants to spare Egypt the fate of the Hittite Empire. To fight the Sea Peoples, he relies not only on his army, but also on Egypt's fleet. The pharaoh awaits the ships of the Sea Peoples in the north of his empire. He intends to use his own fleet to confront and destroy them in the Nile Delta. For the Egyptian army, navigation has been of the utmost importance since its beginnings. Ships are the most important means of transportation. On the Nile, troops can be quickly transported from one front to another, yet ships can also fight. The classic type has a crescent-shaped hull with raised ends at the bow and the stern, as well as a mast for a rectangular sail. For travel upstream, the ships have additional rudders, making them fast and maneuverable. Ramses III gathers everything that floats in the Nile Delta. The pharaoh intends to lure the foreign invaders into a trap. To this end, he's ordered Egyptian archers to take up positions along the banks of the river. The fleet and the army intend to overwhelm the ships of the Sea Peoples in a coordinated operation by killing their crews. It's the greatest mobilization in Egypt's history. The empire is in danger as never before. It's threatened with complete destruction. As a monument to the battle, Ramses III has a huge temple built, Medinet Habu, near Thebes. The war against the Sea Peoples is immortalized on the northern wall of the temple.